Hello, everyone. This is Yamina from Dr. GPCR, and welcome to the January edition, the video edition of the Dr. GPCR monthly newsletter. This is the first one in 2024. This is also the 11th, not the 12th, because we missed 1 month last year. But if we hadn't missed that, this would be the 12th one we've gone around. And today I'm very excited to have with me Dr. Dong Yan. He and I met for the first time in person at the Great Lakes GPCR retreat last year. Dong, very happy to have you on.
Thank you so much, Yamina, for inviting me. I'm very happy to join the Dr. GPCR community.
Thank you so much for being here. Why don't we start with a quick introduction before we get into the news?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Dong. I work currently at Deep Apple Therapeutics here at South San Francisco. I'm mostly a GPCR pharmacologist. I did majority of my studies all in GPCR pharmacology. Started out in cardiovascular at Dr. Colin Funk's group in Queen's University. Then I moved on to Dr. Mark Gimbage at University of Calgary, did more respiratory GPCR pharmacology. And then I finished off my educational career in Pfizer with JP Fortin. Did a 3-year postdoc, industry postdoc at Pfizer. And that was during the pandemic. And yeah, that was in the internal medicine, metabolic diseases area.
Awesome. And you were in the Boston area, and I can't believe we haven't had a chance to meet while you were in the area.
Yeah, no, it's Boston area is definitely a hub, and then obviously San Francisco is the West Coast hub.
It is. All right. So let's dive into the news. There's a couple of reasons why I wanted to have you on for this episode of the January video edition of the newsletter. One, because we had a great conversation, although it was really loud in the room at the GPCR retreat. Yes. There was a music band for those of us, for those who are listening to this episode and that didn't attend the meeting, but also because you are going to be joining us February 8th for the first inaugural course of the Dr. GPCR University with Dr. Terry Kinakin. So I'm curious to hear about what got you interested. Well, obviously you're a GPCR pharmacologist, so I think that says a lot. But when you saw that we announced this course and the university itself, I'm just wondering, what was your first thought?
Well, so several things. I'm Canadian, and I know Terry did a stint in Edmonton, in the one would argue the lesser Alberta University.
Yeah. He's kidding. Also Canadian, by the way.
I know he is. So. But there's a like a rivalry between University of Calgary and University of Alberta. So okay. No, not I don't take that seriously. But so I have his basically pharmacology book, the pharmacology primer, as my departure gift from Pfizer. I got all my colleagues to sign that. So I've read that quite a lot. I really enjoy pharmacology, and having the chance to take the course as well as meeting Terry will be it's a dream. It's it's always something I've looked forward to.
Thank you. No, this is great. I actually also have the book. I bought it and I met Terry for the first time in person in 2019 at the Discovery on Target, where he was giving a course. It was a 3-day full course, and I asked him to autograph the book. And you know how humble he is. So he did. And I didn't want to push it to get a picture with the book with Terry. So I figured it was just too groupie-ish. But we're very excited to not only have the course with Terry, but also being able to launch the Dr. GPCR University. So the idea is, since we're an online platform, our goal in general is to bring everybody together from academia and industry so that together we can collaborate, we have opportunities to work together and hopefully better understand GPCR biology. And obviously we want to impact human health, so drug GPCRs. And with the university, the goal is to bring together experts with students, anyone who wants to learn, and launch multiple courses on anything GPCR related. It can be molecular pharmacology. It can be, for example, for academics, I'm thinking about grant writing would be a really great course. It could be anything you can think of that would help the GPCR community better understand GPCR biology. We could even be sharing protocols. I have a whole list of protocols from my PhD and my postdoc, things that were published. And you can't put that in a paper. You can't put so much detail in a paper. So being able to have this repository, one of live courses, but also this repository of protocols, I think it could be really valuable.
Yeah, definitely. I would have to say that you starting DrGPCR as a community is definitely shone a spotlight on GPCR, which maybe people have previously erroneously thought it's a relatively older set of targets. But the naysayers will always be naysayers. But I think having an online resource, both in terms of like the summit, the podcasts, the university courses now, it's fantastic. I'm very happy to be part of this, and the GPCR community is a very good community to be part of, I think.
I think so too. I think we're pretty nice people, and we like to help each other very much, and we also like to collaborate in general. So I think we're a good bunch, and we're very excited about this course. I mean, Terry is not only a wonderful teacher, but he's phenomenal. Just the video that we recorded last month for the newsletter edition, where he showed a couple of slides as to what he plans on teaching, were just phenomenal. I mean, the image with the different breeds of dogs, depending whether it's a chemistry or it's I don't know, they had multiple breeds, and then pharmacology is this, mixed breed type of expertise. I thought it was really at least it spoke to me. So the course, as I mentioned, starts February 8th. The registration deadline is February 1st. You're already registered, Dong, so your spot is secured, and it's going to be four sessions during 4 weeks on Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern time to 11:30 Eastern time. That's 7 a.m. for you. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of a problem, but anyone who registers gets access to a private group within the ecosystem, so that you can meet your classmates, you can meet Terry, you can have a 30-minute one-on-one with Terry if you choose to. He always welcomes emails, always welcomes conversations. And they're going to be also obviously going to have access to all the recordings, all the materials, certificate of completion. And if anyone is not yet a premium member of the ecosystem, we're offering anyone registering for Terry's course a 1-year complimentary access to the premium version of the ecosystem. So that's going to be a really fun thing, which gets me to the fact you mentioned the summit. Last year we had the DrGPCR symposia, and this year we're coming back with more symposia events. And right before we hit record, we were just talking about the different events. I think you mentioned that you were at one of the meetings last year.
Yeah, definitely. I was at I think the last year's summit. I had the pleasure of hearing Andrew Tobin talk, as well as some of the colleagues from Sam Horst group or company, Montana Molecular. Those were very exciting, and again, being all virtual, it's fairly convenient. I know lots of people from different corners of the globe dialed in and presented, and again, speaks to the GPCR field as a very collaborative, and it's great. It's a great community.
You're right. And actually, before we hit record, we were talking about about the schedule. So this year we're maintaining the same schedule. It's going to be on Fridays. We picked March 15th for the GPCR Activation and Signaling Symposium, June 7th for structural and molecular insights into GPCR function, and October 11th for GPCRs as therapeutic modalities. And the dates are not arbitrary. We actually had to look at all of the events which we collect in the GPCR field and tried to make sure that there is no other virtual or in-person events around these dates.
Oh, yeah.
which was quite a big thing to do. But it's Fridays. We're currently filling up the speaker slots for all of these 3 events. So if you know anyone who wants to present, if you would like to present, either a short talk, it's 20 minutes plus 10 minutes Q&A, or a poster. And I think I'm gonna take a pause here and ask trainees, anyone who wants to present a poster, please come present your work, have conversations. We have enabled the breakout rooms on Zoom. So all day we're going to be on Zoom. And the sessions are split into morning and afternoon with the poster session in the middle. So even if you don't have a poster to present and you want to chit chat with people, we're going to leave the Zoom windows open, and then you can come and have a conversation with your colleagues. So this is super exciting. The other thing you mentioned, the 2023 events, symposium. Everyone with a premium membership can go back and watch all the talks for all of our online events, which I think is very, very exciting. Sometimes I get emails and say, "Oh, when was this? I need to rewatch a bit of this talk because I missed it." And also speakers get a premium membership as well for the year as a thank you. I kind of sold it, so hopefully everybody will want to talk. I give a talk at the symposium, but we want to encourage the free exchange of information. Most of the time we record with speakers' permission, but the talks are only available for premium members, so behind the paid wall.
Yeah, I also seem to remember it was attended not only by academics, but also by companies. So I think it's a great, fairly comfortable venue to network. It's very like friendly in both, like it's not just, people are not just in pure academic ideas, but people are not only in like industry type of ideas. It's just a great way, a one-stop shop to kind of expand your network, both if you're in the academic side as well as in the industry side. One of the things that always plagues kind of indecisive individuals such as myself is the decision making, right? Like, and I think events like this will allow you to explore both, and in a very, very localized environment. So it's very good. Highly, highly recommend.
You make a great point. Although we had all these events, we had 5 last year. I think of this online event more like a smaller meeting, more like a Gordon conference, or even half of a Gordon conference. It's very friendly, it's very collegial. We can have conversations. Some people are comfortable putting their questions in the chat. Others are absolutely, everybody's encouraged to turn on their camera, their mic, and ask the questions. And it sparks all of these conversations we had PhD students ask questions. The other thing I want to mention is that the sessions, so the live talks, are not only reserved to PIs or to more expert postdocs, it's open to everyone. So as a PhD student, you can be presenting before or after Terry Kanakin, or before or after any hero you can think of in the GPCR field. And yes, it's scary, but at the same time, you can say, I was in the same session as top person in the field. And I think it is scary to think about it, but once you're done, you have grown because you've gotten out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I can share a little bit of personal experience. During last summer, I asked a question to Andrew Tobin, and then subsequently followed it up with an email. And he was very generous with his time. Immediately responded to my email. We have met once other afterwards in I think in the Keystone Conference. So like slowly building a network through these type of events is just, it's a necessary step to guarantee success in the following whatever endeavors that people chooses to embark. Like, it's just yeah, uh, putting FaceTime, or at the very least have a icebreaker being like, "Hey, Dr. So and so, do you remember when?" And then as a follow up, it's just a great way to start a conversation rather than, I don't know, effectively cold calling people, and that's often even more difficult, I would say.
Exactly, exactly. If you can say, hey, Dr. So and so, I presented my work on this and this before or after your talk at this event. And you remember you asked me this and this question. I was hoping we can have a conversation around this, or I have a question for you, and do you have 15 minutes? I think this is, who will say no to that,
That's right. Yeah.
right? They're not going to say no. Actually, I didn't like your talk. That's that's why I asked the question. No, this is I'm exaggerating, obviously, and this is absolutely not our field is very different in that regard. I think everybody is going to say yes. So to your point, this is the symposia are a great opportunity, one, to put yourself out there, two, to network with people, to see the breadth and depth of the science that's being done. And we picked these three topics hoping that we're covered. It's pretty large or pretty wide as a topic, as a title, so we want to go as wide as possible. And hopefully we'll have not only great speakers, but also great questions, great attendees. And I'm praying for a lot of posters. We have the capacity per event to accommodate 100 posters.
Oh, wow.
So that could be, I think we have 100 breakout rooms. So I think we should be all ready to spend the day on Zoom on those days.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really
The other thing we were talking about before, you mentioned the podcast, and we're recording. I'm not gonna I was gonna say I invited you, and I'm not gonna say, well, hopefully you can join us. But the podcast, we're coming out with brand new episodes every Thursday, typically I think at 9 or 10 a.m. when our weekly GPCR news comes out. We have a new podcast episode that comes out. And this month we're gonna have, in 2 days, Dr. Josh Patel from Molecular Forecaster, also a Canadian, did his postdoc with Brian Choquette. We're gonna have Dr. Dan Isom and Dr. Sylvia Sposini for this month, and we have more in the bank. But if you or anyone watching or listening to this video, we are always looking for podcast guests. We want to hear people's stories independently of their level. You don't have to publish 400 papers on in the field to join us. I think we all have our own experiences that we can share, and there's someone who might be listening who can learn from it.
Yeah, definitely. I've listened to numerous podcasts to just kind of humanize the heroes that you read in academic papers, because often you don't get a sense of the type of person they are. And, a podcast that they largely discuss career, and, there is a lot of science involved as well, but you get to hear the demeanor and the mannerism, and that just like it completes a picture, because again, the science is great, but it's the people that does them that's the important part.
Yeah, I think and the personality, the behind the scenes stories,
Yeah.
the life outside of the lab is what shapes the scientist, and that has direct effect on the science itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
totally agree.
So hopefully
Yeah.
you can join us, or anyone listening who wants to join us. Hello at drgpcr.com. I know it's totally up to you. If when our podcast episode comes out, then I can say I convinced him. Done. And obviously no pressure. I'm just exaggerating here. One last thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Dong, but we do have our own chief matchmaker. So as you know, we have a job section where anyone can submit a not a job application, but a job description that is going to end up on our job page, whether it's an academic position or not. But our chief matchmaker is Mark Schmeisel. Mark is actually a life science recruiter who was on the podcast episode 55 with me, and we had a really great connection. Full disclosure, him and I worked together on a role that I didn't get, which is fine, because what I got out of that experience is meeting somebody who's wonderful, an expert at matchmaking, hence his title of chief matchmaker. And so if anyone is interested in meeting Mark or learning more about our job board or posting job descriptions, our website is ready to accommodate that, and Mark's contact information is there. So whether you're someone looking for a job in industry or you're somebody looking to hire in industry, Mark is the right person to go to.
That's another great resource rather than kind of combing through different pharmas or companies' career pages. A one-stop shop is also very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was looking at the different job ads that we have on the site, and it's pretty broad. We have director of clinical operations at GPCR-focused companies. We have we have a lot of obviously postdoc positions advertised, but a lot of academic, not necessarily only scientist type of jobs at companies that work with GPCR targets.
Yeah, no, that's a great resource for sure. Yeah.
So very, very excited about that. And I think this concludes my side of the news. Was there anything else you wanted to ask or add?
I think just going back to sort of the course with Dr. Terry Kanakin, I think it's going to be a very I just think it's going to be a fantastic course. It starts with the basics, the agonism, the antagonism, and it moves into some the more I would say more advanced topics with the allosteric modulators, and then the more even obscure stuff that I'm sure through his number of years in GSK and all over the place, he will be able to just pull out examples. So I'm really looking forward to that type of stuff. Because a lot of these things we might read and in the theoretical side, it's important to see how to resolve these things in a practical sense, like in the real world, how to resolve this issue. So yeah, again, just super excited for this course. It's wonderful that it's not a concentrated 6-hour session of pure pharmacology. Not everyone is receptive to that type of thing, but 4 1.5-hour sessions is, I think it's going to be fantastic.
Thank you for that. And we thought about, okay, so how do we do this? How long is this going to be, and how long people can actually focus? And the 90 minutes came out of me listening to a podcast with Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist at Stanford, and there was this study that he was citing that you can't more after 90 minutes, your brain just can't focus anymore. So we figure we're going to do 1 hour plus 30-minute Q&A, and this I think should keep it light and wrap it up. And we also made sure that the spots are limited to 20, so that it's a small group, so that everybody gets the opportunity to ask questions, feels comfortable, and you get to form bonds either with Terry, but also with your colleagues. And we've filled out half of these spots already. So hurry up, February 1st is coming very soon.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. It's very rare to get these type of opportunities. Like there is a price, but it's not I think it's very reasonable like to get access to people like Terry. It's not like it's a very good opportunity, I think.
Thank you for mentioning that. That was also a question of, okay, how do we do this? How do you price such a course? Obviously, our goal is to make this as affordable as possible, but at the same time, make sure that we can cover our costs. And we were also trying to figure out what to do. So actually, we did some market research, and we went online and we picked any course that was about this length, and figured out what is the hourly rate, what does that look like, what's the length, how many people. There's a lot of work behind the 4 sessions, 1.5 at this cost of $299, because we didn't know where to start. So we did some real life PubMed research on Google to figure out how do you do that. And hopefully people are gonna like it. It's gonna be beneficial, and I can't wait to do it again. We're aiming to do another course, not necessarily with Terry, although we're in the works of doing a more advanced version of this course this year. So mark your calendars, TBD from a date perspective. but to launch every 2 months a live course on different topics to see if people are interested in learning more, joining. And all of these courses, once they're completed, they're done, they're going to be available to all premium members in the ecosystem. Obviously, there's a benefit of coming online, because you get the certificate, you get the access to the professor, you get the one-on-one, you get the cohort, you get the group. But later on, all of this will be collected and compounded into the ecosystem under the university. So you could come back at any time and take your course at your own pace.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome, especially now with the, GPCR targets being so much in the spotlight. I think molecular pharmacology is,
Yeah.
that's a very important aspect of GPCR biology for sure.
Agreed. My newsfeed is filled with GPCR-focused references for which GPCRs I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. I made the mistake of clicking on something on Facebook, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
All I can see is GPCRs. In general, all I can see is GPCRs anyway.
That's right.
When I think of something, of any event, I always think about, there might be a GPCR involved in this. But I think it's again a GPCR renaissance world.
Yeah, it really is. It's definitely re-entered the limelight for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's exciting times.
Very exciting. Dong, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Amina, for inviting me. It's been
Of course.
awesome.
And I will see you on February 8th. I'll sneak into the course and listen in as well. My calendar is blocked. So I'll sneak into the course as well. And I'll talk to you soon. Don't go anywhere. We're going to stop recording. And thank you again for joining me.
Thank you.